A second to close my cupboard.
All right, we're live. Intro second time. I forgot to hit go live for YouTube because we're running multiple things here. So we're live on X and YouTube, and we are talking tokenomics. If there's something specific you want us to talk about in regards to tokenomics, let us know. Otherwise, we got a few examples to talk about, and if you just want the short fact of things, I think tokenomics is really just a marketing strategy since most projects don't survive long enough for the tokens to really bring value to the holder. So, Josh, what's up?
Agreed. Hello, everybody. My name is Josh. I am the founder of King Capital YouTube channel. You can find me there. Here with Dan for another one. Welcome back to another episode of Retail Radio. And today, as Dan mentioned, we're going to be talking tokenomics. What does that mean? As Dan said, is it just a facade marketing thing? It's like, oh, they got good tokenomics. Let me get in there. Or is it actually a proper metric that we can use to analyze and gauge whether a token is worth getting into, if there's upside for us, and so on and so forth? So I'm looking forward to getting into that. And also, side note, Dan, thank you for the description update. The last one was still on there when we first came on. It said, graduated from crypto, transitioned from crypto to poverty. That's the reality for a
Yeah,
lot of traders in here.
that happens. Like, let's be realistic. That's like not a joke for many people. And
Yeah.
my portfolio is lower than it was a year ago. So I'm like, all right, this year was useless. So we'll try
Welp.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
welp. Crypto moves so fast though, because like that being said, it still could be like just in just a matter of days that reality can change for better or for worse. You can be
Absolutely.
much lower than you were last year, or you can be 2, 3, even 10x higher than you've ever been before. And I guess that's in a way why we're all here. The speculation game
That's
in crypto.
That's true. That's true. Like December, I was like at the peak. I was like, yeah, everything is great. Everything is pumping. Like I'm killing it. And then the
Yeah.
last 2 months, rough times. Yeah.
Tough, yeah. I actually had the pleasure of being with Dan in December, and things are amazing. Things are pumping
Don't
and
take that out. Wait,
euphoria.
don't take that out of context. He was in Taiwan, Taipei Blockchain Week. It was like, yeah, I'm with Dan. We're just like no other context. You got to add some context to the way you say things sometimes.
I mean, I guess so. How else would that have been taken? I was with Dan at a crypto event.
Oh yeah, you're like, oh yeah, it was Dan. But then that was kind of it. I don't know, man. I'm just saying a little more context.
Yeah, okay, my bad. I didn't know. I was with Dan. I mean,
Yeah.
am I?
I was like,
Would you consider me a friend? Am I not your friend? Why
absolutely,
would?
absolutely. I don't know. Sometimes the way you say things, I'm like, you know how Charles says things in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where it's like
Yeah, okay.
some things are kind of out of context. Like,
Like,
let me help you out here. Yeah,
like
like you
that
just
that
make it a little
record
better.
scratch. Skirt it.
Yeah,
I mean, it was Taipei Blockchain Week. Well, what would I be doing in
absolutely.
Taipei? What would
Right,
I be
right.
doing in Taipei? Yeah. But yeah, anyway, we're talking tokenomics today. We're gonna get into this one. Maybe that flew over my head. I still don't know. I still don't know what that was about. But yeah, we were together in TBW. I mean, the team was together. Retail Radio. I mean, we're always cooking in these IRL events. Any of the major conferences, you're bound to run into a Retail Radio, a Retail DAO member. We're very boots on the ground. We get out there. We're talking to the founders. We're talking to the teams, and we're working hard to put on great shows and do some great things for retail DAO.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of which, gonna plug ourselves for next month. We're gonna be in Dubai for Token 2049. It's gonna be a great
exactly,
event, and that's 2 days. And the day after that, we're gonna be at Sui Base Camp for 2 days. So I'm
exactly,
big on Sui. We're gonna see what's going on there.
exactly. I mean, we're crypto guys, right? At the end of the day, and the
Hmm.
viewers, I'm sure, are crypto viewers. So yeah, I'm sure they could put those things together. But super excited to be in Dubai. Token 2049, Crypto Week Dubai. Huge event, and just everyone who's building and is passionate about the space will be present, including us. So definitely, if you're out there, be sure to hit the Retail DAO Discord and give us a shout. Maybe you'll run into us, and we could do some fun things for the
Yeah.
community. and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
But
hopefully we
getting
open up that Discord soon so people can get in and chat. Otherwise,
yeah,
hit us up
yeah.
on X. Yeah.
Yeah, better yet, better yet. But getting into the meat and potatoes of this episode, we're talking about tokenomics today, right? And is that fugazi, or is that a real thing that we can go off? Dan, what do you think?
After being in crypto since 2017, I used to believe in tokenomics, and maybe there was some kind of reasoning to why a project did better or worse. And as of like the last year or two, I've come to the conclusion that it doesn't matter. Like tokenomics does not matter. It doesn't matter to people. It's just a story that people are telling you to drive you to buy a token for you to be the person to create value for other people. That's the long story short of things, and we have some examples to jump into
Well
that.
said.
What do you think about tokenomics?
What do I think about tokenomics?
Hmm.
There's a few different things in crypto that people hold as okay, this is a benchmark, this is an important metric. Tokenomics, market cap, FDV, I'll say are probably the three pillars of crypto metrics that you see on a mainstream level or on a
Right.
basis knowledge level. So, tokenomics in particular, actually, I do believe is important. I think market cap is a meme of sorts. I think market caps are
Hmm.
completely fugazi. They can be propped up. A token can have an insane market cap with like little to no liquidity, and you can't take that number at face value. The way that they deploy the token, the amount of tokens in circulation, and there's all sorts of different ways to manipulate the market cap, especially from early launch token that's just deploying liquidity. But when you get to tokenomics, you're talking more about things like how the token works, how much is in circulation, the inflation of the token or not, maybe the deflation of the token, how the token works, and how that the token economy is operating. And I think that that's actually something that isn't a meme, depending on the token itself. And the holders, you got vesting, you got VCs, all these different things, all are sort of a part of the tokenomics in a way. So that's how I view it. Tokenomics, I actually do take seriously, if depending on how they deliver and communicate how the tokenomics are, and you can see everything on chain. So I believe tokenomics are not to be like totally ignored. I wouldn't just say it's fugazi and
True.
like, oh, don't care.
True. Yeah.
So that's my view on it. I do take
So
tokenomics definitely more seriously than market cap and FDV personally.
right. So I think tokenomics are great short term to sell a story to potential investors. Long term, we kind of know what happens. Like tokenomics doesn't really matter long term because it's not going to keep a project afloat. If there's no demand for something, it doesn't matter. Like I think projects like was it Tia for Celestia? They're like, all right, you stake the token, you get all these airdrops, but that didn't really happen because projects don't want to give away tokens for free to just people. They want to make money themselves. So it's kind of like having all these different features are just selling you a story to lock up your liquidity so other people can exit. That's just my opinion, and we can get into some more examples.
Yes and no. With the Celestia example in particular, I do actually have to refute that because that isn't necessarily, I would say, a built-in tokenomic. Tia and
Hmm.
Celestia themselves
That's true.
aren't controlling the projects that are going to airdrop Celestia stakers. A project can
Yeah.
go ahead and airdrop bonk holders, right? Or
Right.
Ethereum stakers, or if you held Dink Donk coin back in 2014, you get this airdrop, or whatever the
True.
case.
True.
So I wouldn't say that that's actually like a built-in tokenomics. When I say tokenomics, I'm talking about how the token actually functions on chain and different things
Hmm.
like that, and different mechanics that the team actually coded in and built in, right? Something like an airdrop, that's at other teams' discretion of whether they
True.
want
True.
to deliver that or deploy that.
Okay, let's jump into some different tokenomic features that you would commonly see on different projects. First one, staking, which I know is a scam just because I've seen it so many times. If it's like a reasonable project, they've been around for a while, and the staking is like maybe less than 10%. I'd say that's very reasonable. If it's something like 300% APR. You hold this token for 3 months, you're gonna get rich. I was like, you're gonna have more tokens definitely, but that token's gonna be 90% down by the time it unlocks. That's so I think staking is just a mechanism to lock liquidity on chain while others exit.
100%. I mean, 100%. And that goes again into the core of tokenomics. If you look further into the staking and the attractive like APYs and stuff that'll like entice especially new users to come in and stake,
Mm-hmm.
then you're kind of missing the core tokenomics. If they have APYs of any kind, that means there's token inflation. And yet to understand how that works is to understand tokenomics, in my opinion, right? So
Mm-hmm.
how many tokens are being flooded into the market and being pushed into circulation, and at what rate? Right, that's what tokenomics is to me, right? So the let's say the percentage of tokens that are being pumped out, or maybe they have a deflationary model, or they have a reflection token, right? Some staking models, it could be a reflection token where let's say the token has a tax on it, and every time a user buys and sells, that tax is what's going in to the staking pool. Things like that could be a little bit more interesting, a little bit more like, okay, they're not just minting new tokens, or let's say have a random token pool that's just always being flooded out. Things like that is, I would say, more sophisticated tokenomic analysis than just seeing the APY and staking and just waiting. Hey, I get more tokens, I'm gonna be rich. You
Yeah,
have to actually look into how that works.
absolutely. Let's jump into some examples. So you mentioned rewards for the well, trading fees. Trading fees are part of the tokenomics. Now, SafeMoon, massive project a few years ago. Anytime you bought or sold, I think it was like 5% or 10% in fees or something, where that would go into the liquidity, but it actually just went into the pockets of the founders. What did you
Yeah.
think about that tokenomics?
Yeah, so OG reflection token, and there's a reason they actually had a ton of success early on. Of course, we know SafeMoon was like a bad scam. You probably saw it on CoffeeZilla, and you see all the crazy stuff. The founder, I think, is in jail or something. I don't know, but had they honestly stuck to the original model, where it's actually a true reflection token, where the fees or the trading fees are being redistributed to the holders, there's a reason for a long time they were up only. If you're an OG Safe Moon holder plus seller, you're probably rich today, and that's for a reason. So with the reflection tokens, that's like a good example and a bad
Hmm.
example, because the
Absolutely.
team was shady, the team was malicious, and they
Yeah.
they started changing things up maliciously behind the scenes. That's why you can never take everything at face value. But
Yeah.
on the surface, it was working. They got greedy. On the surface, it was actually working, because although
Yeah.
it was like a degen token, their tokenomic model that actually redistributed value to their holders was something that made sense, in the form of, okay, someone's dumping, someone's aping in, a percentage of that is going to go back to holders. It's not new tokens per se being
Yeah.
flooded into the market, and that's when I feel like you have a downward negative feedback loop, right, of just new tokens being flooded in. So that's my thoughts on that. Could have actually
Right.
worked in a way with their
Yeah.
momentum,
I
but the team went rogue pretty much.
Yeah, I think the same thing, because they built this hardcore community that was like, ride or die with them. But
Right.
they kind of messed up because they just didn't do anything with it. They just like, oh, here's a generic wallet. This is what you guys have been waiting for. When they had the funds to buy out any DeFi protocol, they had billions of dollars where they could have just bought out maybe an Aave fork, or made their own Uniswap, made maybe like collabed with someone, maybe bought some Web3 games and then brought that into their ecosystem. But they didn't. They just like, we'll just take this money and run. When they had this diehard community, and I think they could have also tapered off those fees, so then they could have been listed on more exchanges. So I think that was the potential of SafeMoon, where it could have pivoted into something better. But we all saw what happened with that, because you know you have these fees, you don't have any demand, the token's going to zero long term.
Generational fumble. Generational fumble, if you ask me. We had the founder. That's an example too. Crypto. There's a lot of money going around in crypto. You can get to these founders' heads really quick. To get a lot of the time that you see a lot of these crypto founders get a complex, and it's like, what? This guy
Yeah.
is crazy. and a whole bunch of stuff, right? You saw that even with the Hawk Tua dev. I'm not sure if you saw the live stream that he was on the X Spaces where he's like, "Y'all
I
should be
still
thanking
missed
me."
it.
He's like, "Y'all should be thanking me," like,
That
and
guy
a whole
went full
bunch of stuff,
Kanye. That
right?
guy went full
They
Kanye.
go Kanye. They almost all go Kanye on him. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you saw Seifu. Safe Moon. Funny enough, there's also Seifu. You saw the founder of Seifu. They just lose their minds, right? So much money on the table, all this stuff. They feel powerful. They start getting like a superiority complex where it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to use like the word God, but like they get a God complex almost, right?
Yeah.
And things
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
left. But on the surface and to begin with, some of these tokenomics made sense and they were able to build up huge communities and draw in lots of liquidity. And a lot of the times these teams will go left. But at the core, a lot of these tokenomics models could work, and it's just the execution in the team that makes it go left. But I still believe that there is actually hope for good tokenomic models where if the community rallies around it can work and can be a valuable system. But yeah, that's why it's important not only to vet tokenomics, not only to vet market cap and liquidity, but also to vet teams as well and the execution and everything like that. All these moving parts go into making a successful project in crypto.
Right. By the way, that would be a great video. Crypto's main character or Crypto's God complex, and then you just go into all these different characters and the rise and fall of each of them, because that would be a fascinating video.
Right, you got Richard Hart, you got, like I
Yeah.
said, the Seifu founder, the Safe Moon founder, and these teams, and like, where are they today? Where were they at their peak of their complex, and all these different things, right? You see it time and time again in crypto. But
Absolutely.
yeah,
Now, you actually tweeted something about a couple different coins, and maybe we could talk about the tokenomics of those and what you like, what you don't like.
sure. Which one? From
Trying to
which tweet?
find that tweet. You tweeted it a couple days ago.
Top 10 blockchains
Yeah,
and
that's it.
top 10 blockchains and Berachain being at number 6.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just a testament to their model. I guess you could say tokenomics in a way, but it's now on a bigger or deeper scale when you're talking about an entire blockchain. It's the consensus mechanism I was speaking on there, which they introduced a new one called proof of liquidity, which I thought was very interesting. They took a novel approach, despite being a fork of Evmos. They have the proof of liquidity system, and I guess in a way you can say that's tokenomics, or in a way sort of how the ecosystem operates. And it's something that in this day and age, in crypto 2025, has a proven model as far as being number 6 in all of crypto and all of DeFi, as far as TVL. That takes us almost into another metric, right? Total value
Yeah.
locked. I respect that far more than market cap, which is a lot easier to manipulate.
Yeah, absolutely. TVL is one of the hardest things to get because you have to bring money to a blockchain, and that is difficult to do. You can fake users, you can fake transaction volume, but you can't fake like the money being on chain. So that is like one of the big signals of like, will a blockchain survive? If that TVL is going up, then they have like the right momentum. If the TVL is going down, you might want to look elsewhere. And that's
100%.
not just saying for Berachain, that's just for like anything.
For any crypto. And that's why I made that tweet and gave some flowers to Berachain, despite only being a month old, standing up as far as TVL. There's a reason I said
Number
top 10
six, yeah.
blockchains. There's a reason I said top 10 blockchains by TVL, not by market cap, not by anything else, because these are real users putting their funds in, their hard-earned money into that blockchain. That I take way more serious than market cap. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure if you can pull it up, or maybe I can pull it up. The actual market cap of Berachain. Let me see. Like Bera, the token, Berachain. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's actually hand in hand with their TVL, and that's when you know there is real demand there, real interest there, and real users putting their money in. Okay, let's see. Their FDV is 3.1 billion right now. And then if I go ahead and compare that to their market cap, let me see. I'm trying to share my screen real quick. Bear with me. So their FDV at their FDV at 3.1 billion dollars versus their TVL market cap. Let's see. I just want to get the exact accurate numbers. So they have an FDV of 3.1 billion and a TVL of, drum roll please. Let's see,
I
Berachain.
don't do drum rolls well.
Drum roll please.
Yeah, I gotta
Just
have a
pulling this
sound
up
effect
real
board.
quick. The heck? Oof. Oh, hold on. 1 Ethereum, 2 Tron, 3 Solana.
All
Largest
right, while you
blockchains by
pull,
TVL.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go on while I pull this up.
Yeah, while you pull that up, I'm going to answer some questions. Someone was asking me what I thought about SWE short term. I said short term, it's looking good because they have their SWE Basecamp event coming up. That's when they make a lot of big announcements. They've actually recently announced that Movie Pass, they're doing something with them. That Sega has came on as a partner with one of their games for the Sweet Play. Sweet Play has been announcing some airdrops. Now, if you
Ooh.
remember in September, Sui had this big run up. That happened right after Sui Base Camp in Singapore. And then it also had a run up last year around this time when they did Sui Base Camp in March. So that's typically when they have these big announcements at their event. So I'm thinking I want to go long on Sui right before this event because there's the post-event news hitting everyone and a pump. So that happened twice, two out of two times last year. I think it's going to happen again. Not financial advice, just a guy who likes gambling. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm super pumped for that. I'm super pumped for that. Okay, here we go. Screen share. Let's
Yep.
go. Pulling up DeFi Llama here. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Amazing. So as you can see here on DeFi Llama, right now Berachain is currently sitting at a 2.886 billion total value locked, meaning this is money that users are actually bringing onto the chain, whereas their market cap is 3.1 billion. Very, very close. And that to me is one of the more bullish signs if we're talking tokenomics and things like that. Because FDVs can be manipulated, market caps could be manipulated. Total value locked is actual money on the chain. So that $3.1 billion market cap actually has merit, actually has weight there. When
Yeah.
those two numbers are starting to align and getting close to each other, it carries a lot more weight and it's a lot more believable, I would say. And that's a testament to Berachain's tokenomics, their community sentiment, and all these things. Metrics like this is what I take serious. And then from there, I would look for opportunities underneath Berachain because we know there's real money there. There's real money moving around there. There's whales there. There's opportunities there, whether it's airdrops, DeFi, different things, liquidity farming, great place to farm liquidity through different things. You got infrared finance, liquidity hub on Berachain, and these are real opportunities. So I feel a lot better going to play their games, right?
Right,
Than to
because
go
the
listen to
TVL
the
is hard to fake. So let me just take a shot at Movement Labs here. I know it's like an unwarranted thing, but it's been
right,
making the rounds on crypto Twitter. So they're
right.
saying this is Movement Labs, daily active users 1,000, TPS less than 1 per second. That just means the average transactions per second. This is
Right.
reality. You can pay for media, KOLs, and fake users before the airdrop, but you can't buy a
Wow.
real community. So, if you look into the comments, they're just lighting them up because they were promoting that they had 10 million real users on the testnet, and anyone in crypto knows no one has 10 million real users on testnet. So it's just all
No.
bots, all these things farming, and if you don't have the users, if you don't have people trading on chain, you have Cardano. Another shot taken. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Cardano
That's a.
holders.
I don't think
Just
anyone's
keep
mad at that
firing.
shot.
So that's why we have TVL.
That's why we have TVL. You're not faking those
Yeah.
numbers. This is real money there. Yes, a lot of
Yeah.
these blockchains have raised significant amounts of capital, but total value locked, you can't fake. User count could easily be fake with things like bots,
Yeah.
even transaction volume. You got Tron. People say, for years, Justin Sun has just been trading with himself right on over on
But it
Tron.
actually
And that's
performed
another
really
shot.
well last year. Yeah, it
It,
performed
it,
really well
it
last
killed
year.
it. But and then they say that was like a not fake it till you make it, but he played the game masterfully when it comes to that, right? And we have the Sun Pump era and a whole bunch of different things like that.
Right.
Long
Could
story
you
short,
stop? Oh, could you stop sharing the screen? By the way.
oh, oops, we're back.
Perfect. Yeah, because I switched it and they said the screen was too small. So just a quick thing again. We were going over this tweet. This is Movement Labs, and they were just showing the stats of like its real activity since launch. And again, people taking shots at them in the comments, which is just hilarious. And I'm gonna have a video on this soon, just because. Yeah, it's a great topic.
That's insane. That's insane. Yes. Any other community questions we can get into real quick?
High FDV, low float. Could you guys go over that, please?
Low flow. High
Yeah. So,
FDV. Oh, I thought he said high FVD, like hello full value Dan. Okay, high FDV.
yeah, you're right. That would also make sense. Yes.
Yeah. High FDV, not high
Yeah.
FVD. Okay, so yeah,
Yes.
high
Yes.
FDV, low float. To me, huge red flag. Buy it if you want to get dumped on, potentially, or get smoked. If there's enough hype and demand, maybe on the short term, these high FDV low flow tokens can run. Like we saw that even with Celestia, dropped at $2. You got the airdrop at $2, ran to $20 viciously and stuff like that. Dimension, Celestia, a lot of these Cosmos tokens, not just Cosmos, but just all across crypto, VC tokens in particular, they'll launch at insane valuations, but just a small amount of tokens in circulation. The ones that are not in circulation are mostly and most likely vested and are going to be unlocked to huge whales, industry players that got in way earlier than you before you were even able to think about buying the token. You might have gotten like a fun airdrop, things like that, but there's a larger chess game being played that you're not a part of. You're less than a pawn. Know this,
Yeah.
you're less than a pawn because they were playing chess from inception. They got in at market caps that you'll never see, super low market caps, putting
Yeah.
in millions of dollars, putting in more than entire communities can even do volume in. And then when these tokens get unlocked, it's in their best interest to dump because they're at 10, 100 X's on big money. And if you're getting in late, it's like a lamb to the slaughter, right? And a lot of new users will get in. They see these shiny coin. Oh, they raised this amount from this VC. They're super legit. This is not another crypto meme coin scam. I'm not gonna get dumped on. I'm not gonna get rugged. But it's like a sophisticated rug, to be honest with you, because these VCs get in super early. The low flow is exciting, or sorry, the high FTV is exciting. Oh, this can never fail. But once these VCs get their hands on their token, it's not just VCs. There's even individual angel investors, even other projects that had the red carpet, even KOLs. You know, not to shit on our line of work, but there's
Yeah.
even KOLs who got KOL rounds and got in a lot earlier, promoting these tokens. And once their tokens get unlocked, they sell, and people are like, what happened? What's going on? But these VCs need to make a return on their investment. It's their business model, right?
Right.
So that's my thoughts
So
on that.
So right now I brought up Social Value, not a promotion, but I've been using them. I met them at Consensus in Hong Kong, and they have these great charts that you can look into things of who did their fundraising, what was the amount, and the valuation. So Celestia raised $100 million, and then they launched at a $3.5 billion valuation, giving them a 35x. So
Do the
even if
math.
all their tokens, yeah, if they don't do a token unlock, whatever they're staking, they're just killing it already. You know, you're making 10% on staking at a 35x. You're making more than your initial investment anyway, and you're dumping on people that are just getting in.
And then that bleed is just is gut wrenching to new users. And the sad part is a little bit of, in my opinion, deception as far as, they'll paint all these rewards and benefits to staking and being a part of the ecosystem. Hold, don't sell. It'd be the VCs themselves that are waiting to dump on you, saying, don't sell. We have this airdrop coming for our holders. Oh, if you know, we have this coming, that coming. But really, they're incentivized to keep users in as their tokens get unlocked and as they get yield from their staking rewards to dump them, right? Because as you mentioned,
Right.
even just the staking rewards, there's the huge issue that was with Celestia and Dimension in particular, which you brought up, was that VCs were actually able to stake and earn
Right.
rewards on their locked tokens, which is just
Exactly.
insane amounts of tokens,
Yeah.
right? And then the
Yeah.
users are the victims of that.
We'll just do the math on that real quick. You got in at 35x lower price than everyone else. You're earning 10%. One month, you already got all your money back, and you just keep dumping. So you have to be careful of that. They don't want to advertise this fact. Like no one brings this up because that's just kind of an industry secret. We kind of don't talk about it either, just because we don't want to get stray bullets. But we're calling them out now, so we want you to be safer and more
100%.
careful about your investments. Now, I
It's just
have
the
another thing. I've been lurking in these crypto marketing chats where, it's like hundreds and hundreds of these crypto marketers, and they're sharing what they're building, what they're doing, what their budgets are, and how long they go for. And
right.
the answer is 6 months. So you're going to see at least 6 months of marketing from these big campaigns, and they spend like $2 million to do that if it is a bigger campaign where they want to hire KOLs, they want to do marketing, advertising, be on all the socials, where, leading up to the launch, that might be 3-4 months or something, just so they can have a strong launch, have that hype, have those rewards for those users to come in. And then that's why you never hear about a project like a few months after that. It might have 2 months of life left after it launches, but after that you should short it or sell. Because I don't know if you remember all the hype about these other coins, like Starknet was an example. All the modular chains, all these different layer twos, where they just want to build up this hype. They have the marketing budgets for it, but that's because everyone's just going to make an exit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and it's insane, right? Because they'll market it, they'll prop it up to be this amazing thing and draw in as much liquidity as possible. Of course, the more liquidity they draw in, the more they stand to make. And a point you mentioned earlier was that they got in 35 times lower than you did. But not only did they get in 35 times lower than you did, but they did that with insane size, right? And they don't have things when they are first getting in. They don't have things like slippage and stuff like that. They're getting in OTC
Flat rate, yeah.
flat rate before there's an open live market for it, before it's tradable. My best experiences and my biggest gains in crypto have come from pure pre-sales. Olympus DAO, I was in the Olympus DAO and the Rome DAO pre-sale. Never experienced euphoria like that in crypto. And that's literally like you get a little bit of a taste of what these VCs are getting, but they're doing
Yeah.
it at a much, much larger scale. You're getting in before there's an open market to it, and you're getting in at a smaller valuation. You believed, you trusted early, right? And without and another example I want to point to after this is Hyperliquid, where there wasn't VC presence, and you saw how well they did post launch, but in just the general VC game, you're already at a disadvantage, right? Because of how early they get in and how much size they get in with. So yeah, that's one thing. And I also want to point out another VC strategy that they use all the time, or a whale strategy. If you are a player in a market, if you are a player in a market of like a token or a new blockchain and you were in early, you're a whale or a player that can move the markets, they take it a step further. They're serious about their gains, of course. So they will go ahead and open a short when they know it's time to dump. And the inside whale, the insiders and the VCs, they're like, oh yeah, no, we're exiting soon. All right, it's time to open a short position on a centralized exchange and dump their allocations on chain, causing a sell cascade. They'll open a short and dump the price themselves, double
Yeah.
dipping. They're on chain, they're selling spot, and on centralized exchanges, they have short positions open, driving the price
Yeah.
down even more aggressively, right? And that's the
So
game that
yeah,
they play.
yeah,
So
they're just
they're
manipulating
playing
the
you're
market.
playing checkers. You're playing checkers,
Yeah.
right? You're playing checkers, and they're playing 5D chess with
Hmm.
how they're doing that. And there's nothing really anyone can do, right?
Yeah, I mean the easiest thing to do is just short long term and with no or very very low leverage and you're going to be
Join
all
them.
right.
Join
Yeah,
them. Yeah, join them. Join
absolutely.
along for the ride. Open the short.
Yeah.
And so whenever you're seeing something that's like sort of a generic new blockchain that was able to garner some hype, they definitely had some budget for marketing and it's like some sort of a hype launch. I'm not going to name specifics, but literally already 20 new blockchains and launches come to mind, especially as someone
Yeah.
who was an airdrop farmer and keeping an ear to the ground on new launches and new blockchains. A lot of them copy each other, and you can tell some ones that are going to be vapor if you've been looking at it long enough. And opening a short is honestly a bet is probably better than the airdrop itself. I love that you did a
Absolutely. Yeah.
series on shorts. I love that you did a
Yeah.
series on shorts because a lot of these hype new launch blockchains and new launch tokens, uh, shorting it could be better and more lucrative than the airdrop
Yeah.
itself that you got to
Cuz
grind for.
all these people grinded for these airdrops. They know the price is going to drop launch day. They're going to sell, so that price is going to go down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have a
So,
follow-up question.
yep.
So high FDV, low float. We went over
Yep.
that, but the thing is, Story Protocol is a high float token, but still pumped at $5, and Aether is not a high float token, but still went to shit. And I know you have some thoughts on Aether.
Do you mean that in reverse?
Yeah, that. Oh, well, that's what he said. Oh, sorry, I mean Story Protocol is a high FDV, low float, but still
Yeah.
went crazy. But Aether is not a high FDV, low float token, but still went to shit.
Aether is not high flow, or sorry, not low flow. Aether, I believe, is extremely low float. They have a lot of token inflation and distribution that goes on. They got I'm actually an Aether node operator. It hasn't been that fun
Hmm.
at all. Okay, but
Right,
I'm
right.
an Aether, and they have a lot of like rewards and staking for having the node. It hasn't been fun, but
Yeah, I like how you're
I
you're
think
you're reluctantly trying not to fud your bags right now. Like,
yeah,
it's
it's
not great,
tough.
but you can do stuff on it.
Basically, I bought a
Yeah,
checker node. I bought a checker node early for Aether, and they do have a lot of token inflation. I'm not sure, maybe they spun it some way, but your node is supposed to be earning you tokens all the time and all this stuff. But it's to me the same formula just gets repackaged and put into new filters in different ways. Whether they say it's a node, whether they say it's staking, whether they say you're earning rewards from this, that. A lot of the time, at the core, it's the same formula: token inflation. Lock up your tokens. The VCs are gonna exit on you. They're gonna, and all these different things like that. So, specifically speaking, I think you said he mentioned that Aether had a high float and
a
high
high.
FTV.
I'm
I can't
confused
see.
with
I
Byte
can't
because
see
I
the
don't know
actual
that much.
question.
I'm not that familiar with. I'll bring it up on screen. I'm not that
If you
familiar
don't mind.
with Aether to know like what its situation is, just because I wasn't interested in what they're doing. But yeah, that's the comment there.
It's kind of
Oh,
hard
I
to.
did I change it? Yeah.
It's kind of hard to see it. Let
Oh,
me make
okay.
it a little.
Sorry, I mean Story Protocol has a high FDV low float, but still went crazy. But Aether is not a high FDV low float token, but it still went to shit. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, honestly speaking, even with all these metrics, like the market could still behave how it behaves, and there's still different manipulation things. Just because of something is something, I think that in the long run, any low flow high FDV is destined to eventually trend towards zero, unless they have some insane, like I guess ETH or soul level adoption. Then that's sort of what it's destined to do because these VCs, projects like Story Protocol, even the one that I love so much, Berachain, they have heavy VC involvement, And remember that the objective of these VCs is to get a return on their investment. They're not just
Yeah.
putting up $100 million to be nice, like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
They're there to make money on that money, right?
Yeah.
And
And
so
they want to take
with
that money out so they can keep making money on other stuff.
yeah, so there's creative marketing, there's all these different things, there's hype, there's community cults and stuff like that, that even though the float is low and the FDV is high, can still drive local term upside, right? That's if that's the risk and gamble you want to take, go right on ahead. You better be selling early, you better be taking profits aggressively, in my opinion, because once these unlocks start to happen, these VCs are going to dump. So a lot of the times you have to look, not every vesting schedule is the same, not every unlock schedule is the same, and not every tokenomic mechanics are the same, right? With Celestia, people were actually aping in heavily, and the community activity was actually incredibly strong. But what a lot of people didn't know was that the VCs were able to still stake their lock tokens and earn rewards and sell that, right? So that pushed the price down. There's a lot of different nuances between different blockchains, but ultimately, I believe the destiny is pretty much the same. Unless you're the next Solana or Ethereum, as these VCs get their tokens unlocked, they are going to dump. They don't care, and that's their
Right.
business model. They got to make money, right?
So
And
when
so
you say you're when you say unless they're the next Ethereum or Solana, that's just because it's not necessarily that they're doing something different, but they're creating that community, they're creating that demand. They have volume there, they have active users, they have people building, which isn't happening on all these new chains. So
Exactly.
let's fire some more bullets here. What do you think about Story Protocol?
I haven't actually done deep research on Story. I can't like shit on them too hard. I can't give them
Right.
too many flowers, but it's another new launch. I did hear about them in some conversations being compared. I guess maybe they were launching at this around the same time as Berachain, but I guess I don't know too much about the just the in-depth stuff about Story Protocol. However,
Yeah.
I know that the game is the same
Yeah.
among all these new launches and all these VC tokens. Anytime there's heavy VC presence, right? Heavy marketing. Story Protocol got to where they are with huge marketing budget, huge, able to draw in a big community, spend millions on marketing, and become a brand in the crypto space, right? But that playbook still remains pretty much the same among most 99% of new launches, right? They're gonna draw in the community, draw in liquidity, tease an airdrop. Once the token launches, launch at a high FDV. As the VCs unlock, they're gonna sell, and it trends to zero.
Absolutely.
Right.
So this is just my take on Story Protocol. They want to bring they want to bring intellectual property on chain, but who's been demanding that? No one has been demanding that, and I feel like it's going to be hard to find product market fit, any type of demand. And they raised like $330 million to do that.
There it is.
And
there it is.
they're gonna try to sell you something while the VCs escape. So I'm not super bullish
There
on
it
it. I've seen some content on it from some of the founders, and they were trying to explain it, and then they still didn't have any great examples of like where the demand is coming from. But they just kept selling their vision for it, which makes me skeptical. Anytime you're selling vision and not actual demand, we know how that ends up.
We know how that ends up. And Dan, this is actually part of a reason that I became an airdrop farmer, right?
Because that's
Anyway, that you,
that's like one of the most consistent ways to make money in crypto.
not only that, but that's one of the only ways to have some sort of an edge against, these honestly predatory setups with the VCs
Yeah.
and the teams. That's a way to have some sort of edge. That's why you got so many cybles out there. There's so many people who are cybles farming airdrops from multiple wallets and all these things, and even still, a lot of them could be a huge waste of time. Even some of the projects that raise so much, for some reason, it might sound bullish, like, oh, they raised 9 figures, right? To me, that's actually not bullish to hear that. Like they raised 9
That
figures
means they're
from
gonna
VCs.
dump. Yeah.
That means that's just more dumping power. You know,
Absolutely.
they raised that big amount. Like, you'll see some people on CT get hyped, like, oh, like they're super legit because they raised $50 million, $150 million,
Yeah.
$300 million. This is just more sell pressure when these tokens get unlocked. To be honest, even these VCs themselves, they like the sound of the project. They don't drink the Kool-Aid to the point that they're not going to dump when their tokens get unlocked and they're up 20x, 30x, 100x even, right? And that's when you
Absolutely.
see these insane. Remember the bear market? You guys remember
Yeah.
how the bear market works when you see altcoins and blockchains down 80 to 99%, right? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of this is the VCs exiting. A lot of those.
Yeah.
And for the on-chain
Yeah.
stuff that isn't like Bitcoin and like the more broad global markets going into play, it's the VCs leaving for these smaller projects, right? Alt season and all these things. The people who actually move the needle are big players, are VCs and institutional level players as far as like
Yeah.
liquidity and buying power. So,
Now let's
do,
shift
do,
the
do what you want with
perspective
that info.
here. Right. So let's shift the perspective. Anything with high funding goes to shit. But then on the other side of that, for projects that maybe don't have as much VC funding, those can be pretty successful, as we've seen with Hyperliquid. There's an upcoming launch with MegaETH. They raised $20 million. Has They have Vitalik support. They have community support. They didn't take like any other VC money, which they could have. So that is one of the launches I'm watching because again, good team, not a huge raise, and their product really is user first because it is kind of like a vibe to even just be on their website. So, what do you think
Bullish,
about that? Bullish.
bullish.
All right. I'm gonna bring that up while you stall for time, just so we're gonna show Mega ETH a
I
little
can
bit.
I can stall for time for sure on this. I love
Yeah.
that you brought this topic up because I can yap a little bit about this. See now,
Hmm.
again, if we rewind, I talked about my best experiences in crypto. These are more user driven, community driven initiatives as far as bringing in liquidity, bringing in community, not having like these VCs and these big dogs, come and pretty much dominate the presence and the just the supply, right? They dominate the
Hmm.
supply. A lot of times you see contributor allocation, they might break it into three different categories when you see the pie chart and the tokenomics. But a lot of times 30, 40, even over 50% is going to these VCs because they put so much money in, right? And
Hmm.
they have the power. When it's actually community first and true community distribution, there's actually an opportunity there, right? And that was the original beauty of crypto, right? Decentralization and distribution, right? It comes back down to the core of what crypto really is about, or DeFi really is about. The community first and the community exposure being at the helm rather than a few players or one entity controlling the supply and selling at will and so on and so forth. So, I mean, I love that you're bringing this up. That could be bullish.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm pretty bullish on Mega ETH. It doesn't have to be the token, maybe their ecosystem. They have great branding, they have great vibes. Like, it doesn't feel like a generic site where, all right, we got a swap and a bridge. Come on, guys, bring your
Yeah.
money here, lock it up.
Yeah.
10,000% APR if you like. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that goes to show. So what I look for, I feel like it's becoming harder and harder to find a lot of these times, even just in an exposure sort of stadium. It's hard for these true, genuine, community-driven projects to compete for exposure and audience versus a VC token that has millions of dollars to play with as far
Yeah.
as things as marketing and KOL game. That's why, to be honest, I love CT, and at the same time, CT is getting a little bit industrialized. A lot of these KOLs are being well paid. They're being bankrolled to have certain narratives and threads being
Right.
pushed out, and it actually gets into the minds of a lot of users, and it's a manipulation game in a few different ways. A lot of
Yeah,
pure, genuine community projects don't have that same firepower to gain exposure, notoriety. It has to be truly organic, which is far harder to do today than it was in last cycle, or definitely before in the cycle before, right?
right. So I'm not trying to get murdered by other KOLs, but if you see a terrible KOL and you can short those coins, you can always make a reverse index of whatever they're shilling, and then you could make money that way. Because in the long term, you kind of know where it's going. But a lot of these coins you can't short anyway, just because they're so small that no one wants to take the other side of that trade, and it's just like not worth investing in. So this is like a hard lesson to learn for many people just entering crypto. They don't know what's good. They're looking online. Maybe they're using Google. What should I invest in? And then yeah, they don't have the best experience.
The more you know, the more you know.
Mm-hmm. So
100%. I like that
we had
inverse strategy. They're
yeah.
bound to sell. The sad part is, and actually to me the crazy part is, it's like what they're pushing hard. They're they're pushing it, like they truly believe in it and all this, but they're pushing it to be able to sell for more, right? To
Yeah.
be honest, and when it
I
comes down to it,
I
like
I
for
know
like
we
a lot of
mentioned
these
this.
obscure KOLs.
Yeah, I know we mentioned it in a previous chat, but it's just so weird how people can sell like almost any product where they're selling a data oracle. Like you don't need that token. You can say governance, but your vote does not matter. You can say staking, but it's just so weird that people get involved in these tokens that don't necessarily give them value that they believe is going to go up in value because of what someone says, and it always ends up the same way. I know I have my opinions too. I'm wrong a lot of the times, but in the short term, anything can happen. In the long term, one thing can happen.
100%. And that first point you made, that's what we like to call drinking the Kool-Aid, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
If you're buying a governance token, come on, bro. And
Hmm.
a few different things. Governance token, your vote doesn't matter, and a whole bunch of different things. Or an Oracle token, right?
Hmm.
It's like, okay, this is gonna do this for this, that. They're not using it. A whole bunch of different things. They drink the Kool-Aid, and it's good marketing, and users will get in, and the result is the result. But yeah,
Yeah, for a while I was drinking the Chainlink Kool-Aid, and then I was like, all right, interoperability, cross-chain, reliable data, verify, random number generator. Then I realized after the price just kept going down, it's like, oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Why did I invest in this?
that's tough.
Yeah,
I drank the Chainlink Kool-Aid, and I don't know. I like Chainlink. I mean, just for like when you get some, again, it's almost a deeper level of the sophisticated strategic marketing deception.
yeah,
They partnered up with Swift, a whole bunch of cool things. Like they had
yeah,
the, what was it, that interoperability
yeah.
protocol,
CCIP.
CCIP. We said it at the same
Yeah.
time.
See,
There's-
Kool-Aid drinker. Like I know
yeah,
what it is.
yeah. CCIP.
That did not
It's
bring
like,
me any money. That
oh,
brought no value. Yeah.
it didn't bring any
So
value.
yeah. So it's all like selling you a story of like what it's doing or what it can do. Will it bring you any value? Unlikely.
Yeah, and see, that's the nature of the crypto space too. A lot of y'all need to remember it's a speculative market. A lot of it is speculation. We are not at the point of mainstream adoption, even though you hear that buzzword every year, every month. Mainstream adoption is around the corner. We're actually not at that point yet where it's truly a mainstream adopted thing. The awareness of crypto, of course, has been on the uprise since its inception, and it's still going up and all that stuff. But we're not yet at a point where things like, let's say, CCIP and all these things are actually going to add value the way that they're going to paint that story. Maybe 10 years from now, 20 years from now, who knows? And these can be some things. But as of right now, you'll hear a lot of like seemingly bullish, like a lot of the Kool-Aid, they put the Kool-Aid on display, like check this
Hmm.
flavor out and all these different things. And
Yeah.
it's not actually like deployable or being able to be put in practice in a way
Yeah.
that actually brings in value,
Hmm.
further than
So
just like CT and the power users and nerds like us.
yeah, I mean, it can drive value if there's enough hype around it and enough people believe in it, because that's just what moves the markets. But there just aren't enough products out there that will actually drive enough demand where holders make money. So that's one of the hardest things to find, especially in a bear market. So that's why you kind of have to shift your strategies a little. Maybe you have to dabble in shorting and taking these things and find other ways to invest.
100%. And a lot of these things actually being put in practice. Yes, like I feel like the game with a lot of this is that how many people will buy into and believe in this story, rather than for I say most projects, 99% plus, aren't like, it's more so the belief in this could be a big thing rather than the actual practice of it when it comes to many projects, even like GameFi and a bunch of different things like that.
Yeah.
Infra.
All right. We're coming up on an hour. Is there any other tokenomics projects or things you want to discuss?
I feel like we covered a lot of the main core things when it comes to it. Nothing
There
off
is
top.
one thing. There's one thing I wanted to mention. I wrote down this note earlier. You mentioned you got the rush of the VC experience when doing pre-sales, and I
Yes.
just want to give this warning out there because people want to make that money. They want that rush. There's a lot of pre-sale scams out there, so those are incredibly risky because people are selling you a vision without building anything, and for them to make money very effectively they just take that money away from you and don't build that project. So you have to put yourself in the mindset, will this person actually deliver on this or am I getting scammed? 99% of the time is you're going to get scammed.
100%. And when I was in particular, the pre-sale I'm talking about in particular, which I haven't participated in many, but my conviction for this one was incredibly strong just because of the cult and the time that we were in that was the Olympus DAO and that was the Olympus ecosystem. That was an anomaly that we probably won't see again in crypto unless something insane happens. That was actually the birth of Berachain, and it's no wonder that Berachain just did insane numbers. But these are rare, to be honest with you. These are rare, needle in the haystack. So do not just go aping into random pre-sales. Oh, pre-sale on this random
Yeah.
token. It has to make sense. And remember, just as you mentioned, the earlier you get in, actually, the more risk you're taking, and that's why you stand to make so much more as well. Even these VCs are taking on a risk, investing in these early projects and chains. They could run off with the money and not deliver properly, or just be a little bit incompetent with that, and they're taking a pretty big L. But they stand to make a lot more getting in on these earlier levels. You're taking in more risk, right? And so that's the game with that pre-sale game, and it's with the VC game as well. So that's the thing, I guess, in crypto and just investing in general, right? You see, Bitcoin is so established. I'm sure it's going to continue to do well, but you're not getting the return. That's why there's so many altcoin investors. You're not getting those
Yeah.
insane 10, 20, 30, 100x's, right? With Bitcoin in such a short span, you're taking on less risk. It's proven itself. It's more established. There's ETFs around it. Whereas getting into something obscure that's new, it could go to
You want to
zero.
take that
But if
chance.
you get it
Yeah.
right, you want to take that chance.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
No risk, no rally.
But the reality of that is just finding that bet is close to impossible for
It's
most
rare.
people.
It's
Yeah.
rare. It's rare. And if you were around for the Olympus times, you know what I'm talking about. That was a different game.
It's a rush. Yeah.
That was a rush. The Ohm Fork season,
Yeah.
Ohm Fork season was ridiculous. It wasn't just Olympus. You had Rome, Klima DAO, Olympus DAO. You had what was the big one on Avalanche? What was the big one? Time Wonderland. Oh my gosh! And people were renting left and right. This was like
Yeah.
the peak of. This was like the glory days, the peak of Ponzi-nomics, and getting
Yeah.
getting whitelist to an Olympus DAO fork. People were already celebrating before even putting their money in. It was like a 10x like stamp that. And so being early to that was a different game. So I wouldn't play that game. And then there were still some scams that came out, like what was it? Not Invictus. There was another one where so many people got rinsed.
Yeah.
But that was a different time, right? And you
Yeah,
you kind of had
even Mark-
more information.
Yeah, I
Yeah, Mark
believe
Cuban.
even Mark Cuban, he got rug pulled in one, and he's like, DeFi's a scam now. Like, DeFi is
Titan.
a scam.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
like Titan or something like that.
Yeah, and he was marketing it too. He was like super excited. He drank the Kool-Aid. He was like one of us.
the Kool-Aid.
And then he got rugged. He's like, never again, guys.
Yeah, never again. And then honestly, that whole Olympus DAO thing, it fizzled out. And then every pre-sale that came on, like if you were late, if
Yeah.
you missed Rome, Klima, all these ones were just all scams. And then you sort of had a rebirth with it with something called Titano, which was a similar model, but you didn't have to stake to get the rewards. And then from
Right.
that came Seifu, Sphere, a bunch of other ones. And it was like the law of diminishing returns. Those never hit again. And then The
Right.
Ponzinomics died, and then that pre-sale game was. I never touched another pre-sale again
Yeah,
since
but
then.
just imagine you're the guy who rugged Mark Cuban and destroyed DeFi. Like, you had his backing, he was supporting you. It's like, I'm gonna rug this shit. It's like, why would you do that?
Ridiculous,
Yeah. All right,
ridiculous, ridiculous.
we got we got one more question
All right.
from Gabby. I don't feel confident in holding any token long term until alt season, which is true. But is it still possible to hold tokens till alt season when most of the tokens are VC tokens? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Like, obviously, we can't give any financial advice. We all have our different strategies. We don't know if the market is turning because it's been wild the last few months. I think there was some positive news in the U.S. Economic policy with them
Right.
coming to some kind of deal to keep the government open. So that's why we had markets pump. There's also some rumors by the end of the month, some kind of international monetary supply that's going around on Twitter, where it's going to hit its bottom and then money's going to flood into the markets. So there's a lot of conspiracies, as the crypto conspiracy creator here, hitting the news circles. So we don't really know what's gonna happen. I'd say definitely don't overexpose yourself, and you want to ride the momentum. Like, if we are super bullish and we have that greed, that's when you want to be holding tokens and being ready for that. If we're super bearish and like nothing's really happening, you might want to lower your risk. Maybe try shorting some tokens you hate and think are gonna go to zero that just launched. So that's my play right now.
This your play?
That's my play.
Um,
Oh, sorry, one more. Someone's like, "Do you mean by you're going to sell all your sweet bags after the base camp event?" Well, I have some sweet bags, but I was going to do a leverage long like before the event, so maybe like a 4 or 5x leverage. Um,
I like that.
it's a little more advanced, but it
I
worked out
like
really
that.
well at the last event. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Consensus or TB dub?
Uh, oh, token 2049. So uh, I did a 15x long on
The
Sui at
Singapore.
this base camp. Yeah, because the announcements were big, and I was like super hyped up. So I was like, all right, this sounds great. So I did a 15x,
Smart.
and that thing printed for the next 2 months.
Damn. That's smart. I can't lie to you. Because the old conspiracy, speaking of full conspiracy, Dan, the old conspiracy was that we see dumps during big conferences, as far as at least Bitcoin. Like during the Bitcoin conference, usually we see apparently a big dump. So for
Right,
altcoins and smaller coins, they're making big announcements like, oh, that's bullish. They could even have whales, buying news, right? So
right.
that's your
Because
angle with that? That's your angle with that?
at at these events, well, at least what I've noticed, they save a lot of big announcements that they haven't publicized yet. And you're the first to hear it. And if this sounds good to you, that could pump the markets. And it did that at least for the Sui ecosystem.
Okay, so
Not
would you
financial
do
advice
your
though. I'm just
longs
saying.
NFA, but would you do your longs during the conference when you hear like, oh, this is gonna
Yeah,
work for them,
yeah,
or
yeah,
do
I
you
did
do it
that. Yeah.
before the conference and showing up?
So I didn't even think about it, but then when I was at the conference and they were talking about it, I was like, this is amazing. I'm like, all right, I'm along it. And so, you can decide, you're gonna be at the event. If you see news you like, it's like, oh, maybe I should take a long on this. This sounds fantastic.
Right, or and then maybe even would you say there's ever been a case of the contrary, like, oh, that's nonsense, like that's not good, or you just don't touch it,
Yeah.
that's per se.
Yeah, either don't touch it because I don't know how most people react to news because I feel like I know too much information. But some people drink the Kool Aid. Like I wouldn't fall for the same data Oracle stuff now because I know there's no demand, and I wouldn't short it either just because that's also risky. They're really good at selling that information.
Yeah, fair say, fair say, fair say.
Yeah,
Interesting. I think I'm gonna actually try that out. If I hear something that's like, wow, that's a banger. I have been at
yeah,
conferences and heard some interesting things and
yeah.
like some exclusive announcement. Like you're the first to hear it. If you're here at the conference, this is what we're gonna be doing next. And then boom, a few hours later they blasted, or maybe there was live stream for that announcement, and that could be something that's bullish. Or even
Yeah.
you get to even talk to a member of the team, and maybe they even sort of give you some sauce, some alpha, right? And it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. That happened at TBW. The guy from Zeus Network was giving some alpha. He said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna announce this later." And then the coin did 50% that day. I was like, "Oh, we had inside information. It was on our live stream, but we didn't take action." So
I was
maybe
about
next
to
time,
say
you know,
that.
if we're doing the interviews, like, hold on, keep talking, and then I go long on
Hold
it.
up, hold up. This is boom. We should
Yeah,
have
yeah,
we should have our wallets open, our like the sex the sex open. Say, yep,
yeah,
doop. That'd be
yeah. That
crazy.
sounds
But
great,
yeah,
man. Yeah,
Zeus Network, no, that was electric. That's another
yeah.
reason for you guys watching out there. I gotta plug in the Retail Dow YouTube, the Full Value Dan YouTube, the Coinsider YouTube, and the King Capital YouTube. That's gonna have some real
Hmm.
bangers, let me tell you. But literally, that was incredibly bullish information. And even during that live, we're like, yo, what? We looked at each other
That
like,
sounds great. Yeah.
that sounds great. This makes sense. I'm like, I'm buying. I even said on that live stream, like, I'm gonna buy it when I get home. But I was too late by the time we got home because we did a 5 hour
Yeah.
stream. It already started pumping, and then by the next day it was up 50% plus, right? And
Yeah, and then full
even
FOMO,
when I
like,
was in
this
Denver,
hurts. Yeah.
even when I was in Denver, I was hearing buzz around Zeus and everything that they're doing with Bitcoin on Solana. That this is a completely free plug because that was something that happened live
Hmm.
on retail radio. And best believe when we're at these conferences, we're gonna be digging for alpha and gems like that to share with you guys too. And yeah, it's just a beautiful thing. So
Absolutely. So these are moments to catch. We're gonna wrap up here. Just a shout out to Eddie from Eddie Live. Check out his channel. He made it
100%.
into the comments. But you know we're just past an hour now, and this is gonna get too long. And it's very late at
Yeah,
night on Josh's side.
it really is. It's 1 a.m. over here.
Yeah.
Plus, yeah. So yeah,
All
thank
right.
you all for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to hop on here, talk crypto. You know, we really breed this. We do this, boots on the ground, here over the web. Just bringing you the best alpha and what's going on in crypto. So retail radio, a lot of fun things in the pipeline. So definitely stay tuned.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining. And yeah, let us know on X or the comments what you want to see next time, and we'll make it happen. All right. Bye,
Yes,
guys.
indeed. Have a good night.
Stopping stream. Stopped it on Riverside. Got to stop it on uh, YouTube in a second. I'm just let it roll out. It's still like 30 seconds behind.
Great.
Trying to do this move just so like I know when it's coming up, so I can hit end stream. There we
Oh,
go.
perfect.
Yeah,
All right.
perfect. All right, done. I mean, not a lot of viewers, but I think we have great clips.